Hello. I just wanted to get on here and share today. I have not been on in a couple of weeks, just been a little busy. But I am on my lunch break at work. I have been so abundantly blessed to be able to work with my brother. I had worked at the same place that I was at for about 10 years or so, but recently have gotten just the biggest blessing of being able to work with my brother and a partner of his. And anyways, I'm on my break, so I figured I would share some of the things that I have experienced the last couple of weeks. I'm going to try to focus to one experience at a time. So I'll start with this one. I about 2 weeks ago, maybe 2-3 weeks ago, I was in one of those places where, we go through valleys and mountains. We have high moments with God and we have low moments where we're just, we might be sitting right in his presence one day, and then a couple of days later we're just kind of feeling a little quiet from him. And that was kind of where I was at. I was just in one of those times where I wasn't really hearing much from him, or just it was just kind of quiet spiritually for me. And I was on my way to work and talking to my mother. She had a dream that I was going through a depression. And a little bit about me, I have struggled with depression. I used to struggle with depression for most of my teenage years and most of my adult years. And I didn't realize it. I didn't realize it until about 3 years ago or so. I finally got this epiphany and revelation that I was, dealing with depression. I struggled to have a consistent mood and be happy, and, everything could be going fine in my life. And I would just have a funk, and I didn't ever know why until it finally God revealed to me that I was dealing with depression. And so at that time of my life, I went to seek, counseling about it, and they gave me medicine, and everything kind of leveled out, and I was doing fine as long as I was taking medicine. Well, which, was not, it was just depression medicine. But anyways, I took it for about 2 years or so. And I could always tell, whenever I was on it, I didn't really sink into any depressions. But if life got busy and I might forget to take it for a few days, I could always tell because I would start sinking back into a depression. And usually those were not good ones whenever it happened, because I had stopped taking medicine. It would kind of hit pretty hard and be a little harder to pull back out of. If you've ever dealt with depression, you probably understand what I'm saying. But anyways, so back to current events. My mother had a dream that I was dealing with depression, and she knew that this was a dream from the Lord. She could feel the emotions in her dream, as far as like her just worrying about me and feeling sorry for me, and just hurting her heart to watch me be in such a depressive place that I was in her dream. And so anyways, I was on my way to work, and she was sharing this dream with me. And, I kind of, when she first told me, I was like, that's weird. Why would God give you a dream like that? I'm not depressed. About 3 or 4 months ago, whenever I really just felt God pulling me into my calling, I have pretty much dove deep, and, I began being just consumed with learning more about God and strengthening my relationship with him in a genuine way, and really letting that reflect in my life. And just, he revealed to me the calling he has on my life, and so I am trying to responsibly develop in those areas of gifting, and so that's kind of where my focus has been. And it was about a month or so after that encounter that I'd realized I hadn't taken my depression medicine. And so I cold turkey quit taking it without even realizing until a month later. And at that time, I knew that he had delivered me from depression. And any time in the past when I had quit taking it cold turkey, I knew, within a couple of days, it just was not good. And so he just revealed to me that, that happened. He delivered me, and that he didn't want me in a place of being dependent on medicine, that I didn't need it anymore. And I truly wholeheartedly believe that I don't suffer from depression anymore, and I won't. So whenever she told me this dream that she had, I was kind of like, why would God give you that dream? And I kind of, chewed on it for 24 hours or so, and it finally started dawning on me that the place where I was at that time, I was spiritually, wasn't really hearing anything from him, but on top of that, there was this lingering kind of, I don't know, funk that I was feeling, like it just, my joy wasn't there. Sorry, got a phone call that interrupted that, but anyways, my joy was not there. I wasn't feeling any just, big motivation. It was just kind of like I started realizing that am I depressed, because I kind of feel a little like I could be depressed. It wasn't strong or heavy, but it was just like a lingering kind of funk that I was feeling. And so I started kind of thinking, maybe God gave that to her because he was trying to give us a heads up that I was about to experience a depression, and to be mindful of it so it doesn't catch me off guard. I was just trying to consider everything. But fast forward a couple of days later, me and my mother and my mentor and a few other ladies went to this conference it was named Called to Love. Very good ministry. If you haven't heard of them and are local, you could definitely check them out. But it was a great conference. I really enjoyed it. But while we were there was a point where we were in a pretty deep worship, and I heard very clearly the Lord tell me that he was not going to let me fall back into that pit. Because mind you, at that time, at that conference, was within that time frame where I was feeling a little of that funk and trying to figure out if I was depressed or, what was going on with that. And so he told me that, and whenever he told me he won't let me go back in that pit, to me, I knew what he meant, because there was times in the past when I had prayed during a depression for him to, pull me out of that pit. So it was just a personal thing where I knew exactly what he was saying, that he was telling me that he would not let me go back into a depressive state, or that pit of having to deal with depression. And so now I'm even more confused, because I'm feeling a little depressed, but the Lord just told me he won't let me go back in that pit. So what is going on? My mom had a dream that I was, going to be depressed. And so it was just all like I was in the midst of trying to figure out what exactly God was showing me and teaching me. And so after the conference, the next day, I had gotten so much out of that conference spiritually. I felt like I was in a great place, but here is this depression just kind of sitting on my shoulder. And so I went to my room and just got into more praise and worship and prayer. And in the midst of that, there's kind of two experiences in one here. But during that prayer time, I couldn't relate if the distance I was feeling between me and the Lord, if that was just one of those quiet moments spiritually, or I kind of had a sense that I had done something. And I think that's just the way that Satan tries to attack me, that if I do something wrong, then God takes his hand off me. And that's kind of where my mind was at. I was like, did I do something that has, taken your hand off of me? If so, please deal with me. I can't tell if it's that, or if I'm feeling depressed, or what it is. But, I'm at a place where I really love being corrected, especially by God. And so I was just praying and asking him to deal with me and show me what it is that I need to be working on and focusing on within myself right now. And I got through with the praise and worship and praying, and I went to my Bible and started reading where I was led, which was the story of King Uzziah. And just a brief recap of his story, if you haven't heard it, is just that, he was named king. He had built a big, strong city, a big army. He was strong in the Lord, became so known for being strong in his building of the city and army. And and all that, that eventually he became prideful and he went kind of out of order of how to deal with the Lord, and the Lord struck him with leprosy. He repented, but he stayed having leprosy until he died. And at that moment, through that story, I knew that God was showing me that it was one of those just personal revelations where I realized and I could feel it. I knew that he was telling me that there was some prideful stuff that I had shown, or that he had seen within me, and that I needed to deal with. And so as soon as I got that revelation, I don't know about everybody else, but with me, whenever he shows me stuff about myself, it's kind of like in that moment, all of a sudden I started having all these ideas and like images of myself, almost like I was kind of sitting outside of myself, watching myself in these memories of places where pride has shown up in me, and I didn't even realize it. And for me, it wasn't like those obvious prideful ways. It was the little hidden ways that you may not even recognize if you weren't within me. And were able to see my motive. I didn't even realize it until he revealed it to me that way. And so I just went into a place of being thankful that he revealed this to me, and, told him we were going to work on this, where, just deal with it, help me deal with it, hold my hand through it, and show me how to rid those ways. And so after I got out of that prayer time, I felt a bit relieved because he had dealt with me on something, and I kind of felt like something was lingering there. And so I was back in a place of good spirits. It was nice to receive something from him whenever I hadn't been receiving much within that last week or two. And so I was kind of, back and ready to go. But then here's this lingering depression feeling. Sorry, keep having interruptions here on my phone. But where was I at? So anyways, there was this just depression that I was still kind of feeling. Sorry, reading the text here. This depression that I was kind of feeling lingering over me still. And so I was like, what the heck? Recap. My mom had a dream that I was going to deal with some depression. I started feeling like and realizing I was dealing with some mild depression. I go to that conference and I hear God tell me that he is not going to let me go back into that pit. I have dealt with the issue that I felt like could have been a wedge between me and him, whether it was or not, I don't know, but that's where my mind went. He used it to deal with me on something. And so now I'm still sitting here kind of feeling depressed, and, I was so confused. So at that point, I just knew I was going to muster through it. Whatever it was that I was dealing with depression-wise, God revealed it to me that it was going to happen, so his hand was on it, and I, was just going to do my best to follow him through it. And so I go on about my day and start reading this book that was it a book? No, sorry, it was a video. I was listening to a video of this this lady who has been a good teacher to me in the gifts that I'm developing in, and she's very gifted in the gift of prophecy, and was telling a story about how her and her ministry had went out of the country at one point in time, and she went to bed once they made it to their location, and when she woke up, she felt just really heavily depressed. And so of course it caught my attention that I was listening to that at that time, and she was explaining how I don't remember all the details, but long story short, she ended up getting a revelation that city was under the spirit of depression, that the principalities that were over that region, one of them carried the spirit of depression. And so she knew at that time to go to war and intercede in prayer about that principality over that city, because God had revealed it to her through her feeling it herself. And so I was like, mind blown. There's my revelation. And no sooner than I heard that and got the revelation, I got the message, it lifted and it was gone. I didn't feel depressed anymore. I completely understood. And it's like he just wrapped all these last few days up in a message, and I knew immediately that that's what he was showing me, that he, gave the dream to my mom so we could be prepared for it and not let it be just misconceived. I knew to look to him through it because of that dream. And through it, he revealed to me that with the gifting that he is developing me in, that there will be times whenever I may experience the familiar feelings of things like depression or rejection or just other things that I've been delivered from. I may feel them as a result of someone around me that he is needing me to help deliver them from, the same thing, or he might prophetically be trying to tell me something using those literal familiar feelings. And that was just, to me, an awesome way that he taught me something, and it was new to me that he would use something like that to speak or to, reveal something. So all in all, it was a really good experience. And it made sense to me why he told me in the midst of that he wouldn't let me go back into that pit, because he wasn't allowing that to happen because I was literally depressed or I was experiencing it. He knew the end goal was to teach me something and how to recognize if I'm feeling a familiar feeling like that it's not me that's depressed. It may be someone around me that's depressed. And so it was just an awesome experience. I took a lot from it, and just wanted, to share that. So if there's a couple other things that I've learned and experienced within these last couple of weeks, but I'm going to try to tie them into a different video. I believe that's the gist of that one. But anyways, praise God. He's such a cool and amazing God who, the people who've gone before us, mentors and elders, they can teach us so much. The anointing is there on them, and that can always be passed on to us through their teachings. But when Jesus himself teaches us, there is just nothing else like it. And so anyways, he just reminds me that even though there's people around me who can teach me, he is still the teacher, and he is teaching me, and he will teach everybody else how to grow in their gifting. So anyways, that's it for now.